Hi guys, and welcome back to the DriveLife Podcast. I'm very pleased today to be joined by a very good friend of mine, Mr. Ian Jones.
Morning.
Otherwise known, I think most people know him as Indy, short for Indiana Jones. And I'm sure he can tell us a little bit about why you are known as Indy.
Well, just kind of picked the name up from various trips and stuff I suppose I've done. I've been to India a few times, whether it be kayaking or mountain biking and other places around the world. I like to, go on adventures basically.
You say adventures, but what I think is an adventure, yours is a little bit. You've done some massive trips. You show me photographs of you mountain biking. I think as a mountain bike as a day in Sherwood Pines.
Yeah.
Your mountain biking's a little bit more extreme.
Yeah, well, I've done a lot of mountain biking over here, but then that opens up opportunities to go elsewhere. So I've mountain biked in the States, in Canada, in India, Nepal, various other places, Guatemala. Lucky enough to go heli biking in British Columbia, where we hired a helicopter to take us from Britannia Beach at sea level up onto Goat Ridge, which was about 5,500 feet. The new people will have to work it out in meters. I'm old school, sorry. And then spend all day riding back down the mountain, and then beers and medals on the beach at the end of the day.
It's
the best day out I've ever had on a mountain bike.
Really?
And there's been some good ones.
Well, I suppose you have to pedal very much, do you?
There was a little bit of hiker biking involved, but basically it's point your bike downhill and gravity takes over.
On.
Yeah, gravity works one way, doesn't it?
I think if I had got that, I might beat you down.
What
is terminal velocity?
History tells us that you are quicker accelerating down a hill than me.
Yes, I've been there, but certainly not down that size of mountain.
Yeah.
Some of your best trips then, you mentioned there about BC and Canada and,
mountain biking, British Columbia. It's awesome. Kayaking, I've been lucky enough to kayak pretty much all over. So Chile, Argentina, Costa Rica, India, Nepal, all like the Alps, Switzerland, France, Italy. But done a few major rivers, done the Zambezi, where you get on the river at the base of Victoria Falls.
Okay.
And although you might not know what the Zambezi white water's about, but you'll be familiar with Victoria Falls.
Well, I've seen a few of your pictures and videos, and I just...
So yeah, I've done the Nile in Uganda. I'm sure we'll talk about it later on. I've done the Sarap and the Zanskar and the Indus, which is in northern India, on the edge of the Tibetan plateau.
Well, I'm aware of that trip. We'll come back to that in a bit if we can. But just give you an insight of, you're a braver man than me. That's all I can say.
Well, dafter probably.
Well, maybe so. We'll let people.
And that's pretty daft, to be fair.
Yeah. The reason you're on the DriveLife pod is mainly petrol related.
Indeed.
I think it's fair to say you're a fairly staunch petrol head.
Yeah, very much so.
So where did that start? Where did that stem from?
Two wheels, really. Going on the back of my dad's moped, it's the C90, to my grandfather's.
You've
got to love a 90. To my grandfather's in Norris Green in Liverpool. So that's where kind of motorbikes came from. And the first motorbike came at 16, and then obviously passed my driving test at 17, and then it's just kind of gone on from there.
So I know you've always been massively into your bikes.
Very much so.
Your bike collection is fortunate, shall we say?
Yeah, we've got a few.
Yeah. You stopped counting when you got to run out of fingers on two.
I think currently it's 9,
okay.
Most of which are actually in one piece and working.
Yeah, but you love a project bike.
I do.
I know you're massively into your Harrises.
Yeah.
2 Harrises that you've built yourself?
I've had 3.
3,
but I've just sold one.
Yeah.
The Harris thing, for those of you that don't know, Harris is a custom-built bike frame made in the UK by a company called Harris in Hertfordshire. And I first saw a Harris probably on the cover of Superbike magazine at a B when I was about 17. And it was like...
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, it is a long time ago. And I thought, I'd like that. And, I'm a desk jockey. That's all I've ever done. I'm not an engineer. But I was lucky enough to get my first Harris when I was 21. And my old man loaned me the money. And it was, are you sure this is what you want to do? Because this is a fair amount of money back then. And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I want to do it. And I'd never really built a motorbike before.
Had you done your own maintenance at that point on your own bikes?
Only a little bit.
Okay.
It was very much learning as the process
So it was
went
sort
on.
of both feet in and
very much
baptism
so.
of fire.
Very much so. So I ordered the Harris at the bike show at the NEC in 1987, collected it about 4 or 5 weeks later, spent about 4 or 5 months building it. And in those days, you just used to have to take it for an MOT and then send the MOT off to DVLA and they give you a registration. So that one's on a Q plate.
Yes.
So I was 21 when I got that. I'm 59 now and I've still got the bike. It's actually in the living room at home.
And how many times has that been rebuilt?
Countless times. It's been rewired 3 times.
Yeah.
You did the last wiring loom on it for me. Thank you very much.
All right.
And yeah, we're currently on engine build number 3. I've just had the engine rebuilt.
Yeah.
Looking forward to getting out on that this spring and this summer.
Mm-hmm. I know it does create a lot of interest when I've been to a few calves with you, Seaways and Squires, wherever, and it always creates a little buzz of interest around it. And
a lot of people these days don't actually know what they are, though, because an awful lot of the bikers these days are what I call it, the Ewan and Charlie Brigade.
Yes.
Because obviously they saw Ewan McGregor and Charlie Boorman riding around the world.
It's amazing, I'll get a bike.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
And, that's fine. But kids don't ride motorbikes as much as sort of we did back in the day.
No.
Riding motorbikes, that was how you got out and about on a moped.
100%. I mean, I remember as kids, we used to go to the scrapyard and buy a bike, or my dad's getting rid of it. Oh yeah, we'll have it.
Yeah.
And we just used to mess about with them and make them go as fast as we possibly could.
Yeah.
They'd end up in a ditch or in a canal or something, and then
absolutely.
we'd go get another one and do the same again next week.
Repeat, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, great.
Hopefully you don't get spanned in the process.
I think the kids are missing out these days on that.
Yeah, just too busy on the...
Because it's a lot easier to get a car these days, isn't it?
Mm.
And
I think a lot of the parents don't want the kids to have bikes these days.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, I learnt to ride a bike the wrong way. I was taught by myself and by my friends, pretty unspectacularly, ended up in hospital, which put me off bikes then.
Yeah.
Until you perked my interest back to them and made me do my test. Thank
Yeah.
you. But I think I've taught my lad to ride a bike, and I would prefer to go down that process of teaching somebody to do it properly and the correct way and show them all the pitfalls rather than just them experimenting and, coming a cropper from it.
Genuinely, I think one of the big reasons, just going back, I think it is so much easier to get a car because you can get a car now with your insurance all on a PCP plan, and you can get a nice car with no holes in the floor that doesn't need any maintenance work for a couple of £100 a month.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think that's been one of the biggest changes.
Kids these days, people have just passed the test, complain about the price of insurance. But I can remember when I was, I think, just turned 18, I was paying £8,500 a year insurance on my car. And that's 1988.
Yeah, well, let's see, I paid £39 for my GT50.
There you go.
When I was 16.
Yeah, so if that had been a car back then, it would have been very expensive.
Yeah.
But I think, obviously bike insurance has gone up quite a bit now, but it's still not to that same level, has it?
It has, but that bike's performance and bike insurance, you're getting supercar, I should say, performance out of a super bike for a fraction of the cost of the money and insurance.
I mean, my bike, I think last year was £130 for the year, and that included helmet, leathers cover, all the, it's not a great deal of money.
I think I pay about 7.5 for 5 bikes on the road, and when you divide that up,
it's nothing.
As expensive as it sounds, it's actually not that much money. If you compare it to a season ticket for those people that we don't talk about that watch football.
Is that the round sport?
Yeah, that thing. Okay. I've heard about it.
Move on quickly. Yeah, I think it's a great way to get into petrol. You do see quite a few kids, I mean, especially here at the Motorist, on a nice sunny weekend, you do get quite a lot of young people down on bikes, and they seem to be enjoying themselves, but nowhere near as much as when we were kids, like you said.
No, but I mean, that's one of the great things about this place as a venue and the other cafes that are around is that you get such a cross-section of people coming.
Yeah.
My background, really, I love driving cars, but motorbikes are kind of my thing.
Yeah.
But you speak to people here, and it might be the youngsters with the hot hatches and the speakers in the back with the lid up and or it might be the old boy with his 1930s, 40s, 50s classic car, or we've just had a McLaren pull into the car park this morning.
And bearing in mind, it was -3 this morning, really icy out on the roads, salt everywhere, low sun, and he's just rocked up in a 570 McLaren. I'd doff my cap to you,
hats off to
When did you first get your love of cars after the bikes, though?
Obviously, when you asked me about coming on here, I thought about this, and I like driving more than a love of cars. I love driving.
I think I'm the same.
The car aspect, I've had a couple of nice cars over the years, but it's the driving thing that is my passion rather than actually cars. Motorbikes are a passion.
Yep.
Cars are very much put the key in and drive from A to B, put a kayak on the roof or a mountain bike in the back of the car.
Yeah.
So most of my cars have been sort of hatchbacks to be able to throw stuff in the back of. So I wouldn't necessarily say it was a love of cars, but it was definitely a love of driving
and just adventuring
and the places you get to go.
Yeah.
I love a trip.
Completely.
You know, whether it be on 2 wheels or 4 wheels.
Yeah.
That's where the passion comes from.
Yeah. What nice cars have you had? Untripped cars?
Currently lucky enough to be driving what I think is my nicest car. It's kind of my dream car. I've got an Audi S3, and I love it. It's a lovely bit of kit. It's 5-door hatchback.
Put the kayak in the back,
300 brake horsepower,
mountain bike in the back. Yeah,
exactly that. You know, and I've driven it to the Alps and been mountain biking for the week, and then driven it back over the Alps and over a load of the sort of passes that you know that many people will have driven, and then came south of Lyon. I think it's called the Vaucluse region, which are lower mountains than the Alps, and for me more enjoyable.
They're quieter as well.
Yes, and not quite the exposure of the Alps. I don't particularly like the exposure of some of the roads. I'm fine on a mountain bike going down the narrowest of paths with a steep drop, but in a car,
I can't comprehend this.
Well, it melts my head too, but I'm not a lover of those alpine roads where there's sheer drops.
So I concentrate on the time.
I know, and we've talked about this over beers. The Vaucluse region, I probably enjoyed that more, and like you say, definitely quieter.
Yeah.
And then I had a particular road that I wanted to go and do. It's called the N102, and it goes from a place called Aubenas up over the Massif Central.
Yeah.
And if you've never driven the N102, put it on your list.
So the Massif Central, for those who don't know, it's sort of a strip of mountains right down the centre spine of France, underneath Limoges.
Yes.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to do it 2014, I think, last time I did it, with little Russ, if you're watching. Good to see you, mate. Had a whale of a time, and there are some very, very undiscovered roads.
And no one knows about them.
And there's some of those balcony roads there as well, isn't there?
I didn't drive any of the balcony roads.
Yeah, I can't remember the names of the roads, but I know there is some that, I mean, they're just, well, you wouldn't like them because there's drops on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's such an undiscovered. I'm telling people about this again, I need to keep stum. Yeah, if you do get a chance, it's definitely worth looking at. And I think we need to revisit that again at some point, because say it's 12 years ago now since I've done that.
Well, I'd ridden the 102 coming back from the Bol d'Or at Paul Ricard back in 2015 with 3 of my buddies. And the road was good enough to make me drive to it, to want to drive it in the car.
Oh, wow, okay.
And
that much of a
it's
draw.
amazing. Yeah, you just climb up alongside the Ardèche River and then up over the top of the Massif, and it's Wild Kingdom. It's awesome.
Some roads you drive and it just sticks in your mind. And I know we've spoken about another one, just jumping slightly now, in the Pyrenees, which is just northeast of Pamplona.
Yeah, the N137.
Yeah, and then that goes up and onto it's called the Pierre Saint-Martin.
That's the one.
And oh my, that is one of my probably the favourite road in the world for me. That I love that road. I
prefer the Pyrenees to the Alps.
Yeah, completely.
They've not got the exposure, and we already know I don't particularly like that. And they're quieter.
Yeah,
no one knows about the Pyrenees. Don't tell anyone.
Yeah,
catch the ferry down to Bilbao. Head towards Pamplona, you get onto the N240, and then which picks onto the N260.
Yeah, off the ferry, you are on the nice mountain passes within 2 hours.
Yeah.
On the nice passes. You can get to some of the western ones in less than an hour.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well, the M135 is the one that comes out of Pamplona, isn't it?
Yeah,
you've done that, and I've not done
times.
that. So
yeah, to me, they are the best kept secret.
So cut that bit out of this podcast because we don't want anyone to know about the Pyrenees and how good they are.
Right, moving on then. Let's jump back a couple of steps now. I've known you, I met you in our local village years ago, far too many years ago to think about. We just had a love for motorsport. We've watched a lot of motorsport in the pub and then blah, blah, blah. And then we started having a conversation about motorbikes and we got chatting. You made me do my bike test, which, thank you.
Pleasure.
Yeah, quite a lot of years ago now. I've been fortunate to do some nice trips with you on the bikes. I think probably one of the most memorable when we had that lucky break with the weather when we did Ireland.
COVID.
So we'd booked to go to the Northwest 200, hadn't we?
We had, yeah.
And obviously with COVID, it got cancelled. And you spoke to the ferry company. They said we could just change our booking as and when COVID lifted. And you spoke to the accommodation and said, look, keep our money, but can we come back when COVID? Yeah, thank you very much. And we had a trip in the September, didn't we?
Yeah, it'd be September of the COVID year, so
yes,
about 20. So that everything was just opening up and they were encouraging us all to get out. And we were blessed with an Indian summer.
Spectacular weather, wasn't it?
It was amazing. Blue sky and sunshine for the whole trip.
So we did the whole of like the northeast coast of Northern Ireland, the Causeway Coast, and we rode around the circuit, the Northwest 200 circuit. For those that you don't know, it's sort of Coleraine, Bushmills, and
it's Coleraine, Port Stewart,
Port Rush.
Port Rush,
brilliant. One of the best circuits there is, in my opinion, road racing. And then we also decided to dip our toe into Northern Ireland, didn't we?
Yeah, well, we rode over to Malin Head on one day, and yeah, spectacular.
I think, if I'm right in saying, the night before we just got the map out and went, where shall we go? Oh, let's go there. And it was a name. You probably remember the name, do you?
Well, we did two big rides out. We went to Malin Head on one day because we tried to catch the ferry that no longer runs. So that made it a bit of a longer ride round.
Long swim, so we decided against it.
We went down to, was it Glenties on the N260 or something like that?
Down the side of that reservoir or lake.
Yeah, a big diagonal into northern Southern Ireland, if that makes sense. Yeah. And we ended up, I can't remember the name of the town we ended up on the coast, but they got the coastline book of features and said, I tell you what, we'll have the lot.
Let's just put them all
So
in.
we had headlands and caves and rocks and stacks
white
and a surf beach.
With nobody there.
Yeah,
it was
stunning.
Spectacular, wasn't
Stunning.
it? So again, another secret place if you're ever out that neck of the woods.
And I've been back since to Ireland. I've done the west coast of Ireland on the motorbike.
Yeah.
And again, west coast of Ireland, put that on your bucket list. A great place to go to.
And again, really quiet. Not many people on them. So giving all our secrets away. I don't know why we're doing this. Coming back then to sort of today, you're now happily retired.
Indeed.
I'm jealous.
Well,
so how many times have you actually retired?
Retired a few times. I was a civil servant for 30 odd years, and then I finished in the civil service on the Friday and actually started work here on the Monday.
At the Motorist.
At the Motorist. And I was very fortunate because you'd actually arranged a bike ride out.
Yep.
And you invited someone along that I didn't know. And I don't like riding with people that I don't know.
It can be very miserable.
I like probably the same, driving in a group. You like to be with people that you
need
know.
to be able to trust people and know you can predict what they're going to do.
Quite.
And on a bike, it's a level above again, isn't it? And you need to be able to, confidently predict what they're going to do.
Absolutely.
And riding with new people, it's very difficult to do that, obviously.
However, we come back to the Michael Caine quote of, you never know who you're going to meet and what influence they're going to have on your life. So that morning, I met Simon Stock, who was managing the Motorist in those days. And we chatted and we got along famously, and he gave me a job a few months later. I'm still friends with him now. I was around there on Monday chatting about the Mini that he's rebuilding. Happy days.
So you started at the Motorist 1 day a week on a part-time basis?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, back in the day when there was a car showroom here, and it basically was in its infancy. It had just opened.
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah, and then you ended up running the garage reception.
Yeah, kind of full-time, part-time for the best part of 3 years. So.
Yeah, and then it literally ended up 4 days a week, I think you were at one point, weren't you? And then decided you'd had enough of that.
So retired again.
Retired. Went and did more adventures.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then thought you need some more adventure money, and you become a builder's labourer for a while.
Yeah, I did a bit of labouring. I've worked with you a little
Yeah.
bit doing sparking, it's all pin money for adventures,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Which is great.
A quick thank you to the motorists for hosting us as always. To find their calendar of car meets, events and quizzes, head to their link in the show notes below. Going back to those adventures then, what's been your best adventure you've done? I think I know where this is going.
Well, India, three of us, and a fourth lad, Daz, who runs a company running trips in the Himalayas. And we flew to India, we hired some Royal Enfields, and we rode around the Himalayas for 2.5 weeks, and we took in the highest motorable road in the world at that time.
Not the Cardon La.
The Cardon La. I'm going to have to go back because they've put a higher road in just a little bit further
just
east.
to annoy you.
Yeah, just to annoy us.
I arranged that.
Thank you. Yeah. We did the Cardon La at just over 18,000 feet, and that is mind altering. We'd been at altitude for a week prior to going over the pass, so we'd been at 11,500 feet, and you really do need to acclimatise. I think pilots go on oxygen at about 10,000 feet.
Yeah.
So we've been at 11,500 feet for a week, and then you ride up the pass and the headache starts. And I think managed about 5 minutes.
It's not pleasant, is it?
No, it's not pleasant. So it's like I'm on the bike, I'm off down. So you start heading back down, and eventually the headache abates somewhat. And we went into a place called Nubra Valley, which is very remote, no mains electricity, dead end road to nowhere. The next stop over the Himalayas when the road finishes is Pakistan and K2. And then 3 days later, you come back over the Cardon La. And this is why the climbers do the shuttling up and down mountains when they're doing Everest and others. You climatise because you get to the top of the pass and there's no headache. And it's, should we have a cup of tea? We'll have a chocolate biscuit. Let's have another cup of tea. Yeah. And it's great.
I remember, it's nowhere near that high, but I remember the first time I went up the Stelvio Pass, just shy of 3,000 metres. I don't work in old money. And I got a blinding headache when I got to the top. I couldn't understand it. And then I realised, we'd basically driven up the Stelvio Pass as fast as we could possibly go to get up there.
Yeah.
And you've got no time to acclimatise.
Yeah.
And you come back down again, and then you can go back up, and the more you do it, the more you get used to it, you acclimatise. It's not a nice feeling.
No,
I've had it a few
not.
times subsequently. And it's just...
Yeah, but you're a lightweight in that department,
Well,
figuratively speaking, of course.
Yeah, just in one way. Yeah. Interesting story coming back over the Cardon La.
Well, we'd ridden a number of the passes, and then we dropped down and we'd said goodbye to Vero and Thierry, my friends from France who were with me. And Daz and I were riding back to then go kayaking, and we're supposed to go and queue up at the local town hall equivalent to get a ticket, a pass to go back over, and basically Daz couldn't be bothered, so he just said, "I'll bribe him tomorrow at the pass." So fine, golden,
So sorry, just to explain again, Daz had worked out in Nepal for a long time.
Yeah,
he knew all the systems, knew what to do, where to go.
So we rock up at the post the next day, and there's the thing there with the barrier and stuff, and Daz goes to bribe the official, and I'm standing back, and the official throws a little bit of a paddy, which confused Daz at the time. But what Daz hadn't appreciated was they'd since fitted the post with video surveillance and audio. So the official, he was quite happy to be bribed, but just not on camera.
Yeah.
So he then walked back to where I was, which was out of shot and audio. Accepted the bribe and said, "Go forth and multiply," and we did. Yeah. It was tip top.
So that reminds me of another quick one of your stories. Was it a Zimbabwe trip you did?
Yeah.
When you'd got the correct visas at that point.
Yeah.
And the passports, and they'd gone through those, and so I'll let you tell
the
story.
There was 8 of us, and we'd flown into Zimbabwe, actually, because we couldn't get into Zambia on the day that we wanted. So you fly into Victoria Falls Airport in Zimbabwe, and then we shuttled across the border to Zam, and you actually cross the kind of rail bridge that some of you might have seen in World's Strongest Man, where they pull the train across it and stuff like that. But there's obviously a border post between the two countries. So there are 8 of us, and we got our kayaks with us, and we rocked up at the border post, and I've gone and presented all 8 passports to the official. And everyone sort of looks up and he sees the passports and he stamps the passports to let you in.
They do love a stamp.
The officials love a good stamp, which then it was, and the papers for the kayaks, to which the brain is like, papers for the kayaks? What?
A piece of plastic.
So quite possibly the quickest bit of thinking I've ever done in my life. I actually had all of the luggage labels for the group of us on the back of my passport. So I just casually said, yeah, no problem, handed my passport over with the 8 pieces of paper with the luggage labels. He stamped away. And as Jim's already said, if there's a piece of paper, they'll stamp it. So he was quite happy. He had 8 luggage labels, stamped them away, and waved us through, and carry on. And then to find our lift had been delayed the other side because there was an elephant in the road. Of course.
Local traffic.
Yeah.
A quick note, if you're looking for something to do this weekend, head to carevents.com and discover car meets near you. So just coming back to cars then. So I know you've had certainly a lot nicer car than you've let on so far. I think, is it right in saying you dipped your toe into 4 wheels and decided you're probably better with quicker things on 2 wheels?
Yeah, I built a Caterham back in 99, 2000. And by that time, I'd already built another Harris. So I got 2 motorbike builds under my belt. And I like building motorbikes. I like messing around with them. And I thought, let's try a car. So I ordered a Caterham. And originally self-build one, as a kit. And originally I was going to put a Vauxhall 16 valve engine in it, but during the course of the build, or before I got the car, at some point, a very good cross-flow engine came up with carbs, and it was all set up and ready to go. So I bought that. It was too late to change the actual car at that point because the exhaust comes out in a different place. But Caterham were very accommodating, to be fair to them, and they changed the wiring loom over from the Vauxhall to the Ford. And I built it. So it was 500 and something kilograms and 135 brake horsepower. So from 0 to 80, what a car.
So are you glad you didn't go down the red top route? The Vauxhall.
Yeah, because I mean,
250 standard.
Well, they are, and also just the fact that the cross-flow engine, it's kind of the engine that's supposed to be in something like that.
Yeah,
really. I'm glad I did it, but I never gelled with the car. It was amazing to drive, but I never gelled with it the way I have with motorbikes or other cars.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I just don't know, because it was amazing to drive, and it's the only car I've ever driven that was sensitive to the amount of fuel it had in it. Because the fuel tank is behind you. And with a full tank of fuel, the car was planted on the road. When it got to about half a tank, you could drift the back end out. And again, that depended on the air temperature as well. If you're kind of 50, 60 degrees, the car would slide and you could catch it and, no problem.
You're back in old money, aren't you?
Indeed. But if the temperature got up to sort of 70 degrees, so 20 plus for the kids,
thank you,
the car would stick to the road and it wouldn't slide. And you knew if it slid, you were going to be upside down in the field. Because if the car let go at that speed, I've not got enough talent to catch it. So it was amazing to drive, and I drove it over to the Le Mans car race, the 24-hour car race.
Plenty of room for your tent and your luggage.
Well, I'm lucky enough to know people in France, so I didn't have to carry too much in the way of luggage.
It's very local to the circuit.
So we were all right on that score. But it was interesting. That was the journey where it started raining, so we put the roof up, as you do. Quickly realised that we didn't like it with the roof up. And a Caterham actually creates a kind of vortex while you're driving along in it, and you don't get wet.
The water goes, the faster you go, the water goes over the top.
If you stop, you get soaked. If you've got a Caterham, don't drive it with the roof on, because it's wrong, sick and wrong.
Meant to be, is it?
So drove it over to Le Mans, had a great time. I shredded the axle on it in about 3,000 miles. The rear axle let go. It was from a Morris Ital.
Okay.
It'd be.
I take it was an open diff, wasn't a limit slip diff in it.
No. It's a live axle.
Yeah.
Is that what they used to call it? I duly complained to Caterham because they'd supplied the axle and stuff, and they said, "Well, you've been sliding this round and drifting it round." I was like, "Yeah, of course I have. It's a Caterham. That's what it's for."
That's why I bought it.
And they then asked me what oil I'd put in it, and I'd put a straight 90 gear oil in, which is what they told me. And they then said, "Oh no, it's supposed to have our special gear oil in that obviously cost 5 times the amount of."
Yeah.
So they did cut me a deal,
Okay.
to be fair to them.
Yeah.
And we swapped the axle out and drove it around a bit more, and then sort of flogged it and used the money to go on more trips.
So you're pleased you've ventured into it?
Yeah, because it
Scratched an itch.
very much so. But as I alluded to earlier on, a car is very much, it's a tool.
Yeah. Okay.
I like the driving,
Yeah.
but the car is the tool that allows me to get from here to there.
Yeah.
So as I say, with the Audi, I'm happy with that.
That's just you content, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know, you came on a track day with me to Cadwell, didn't you?
I did.
I think I'm right in saying you were really sort of exuberant, excited to get in the passenger seat.
Very much so.
For a go around.
Yeah, very much so. But my body doesn't take well to being thrown around in the passenger seat of a Porsche.
You did what, 10 to 12 laps, and then
I've
got
time to get out.
Yeah.
I'm shaking and ready to. I've never been much one for fairground rides or stuff like that, and include Cadwell Park as a passenger in your car.
It definitely is.
Whether it was Cadwell or you're driving.
Well, who knows?
But,
I know what a lot of people will say to that.
But again, I mean, that was interesting because the next day we were working here at the Motorist, and you said to me, "Have you ordered a Porsche yet?" And I was like, "No." I said, "If anything," I said, it's put me off."
Okay.
Because that car was amazing.
Yeah.
And it's the car that opened my eyes to what
cars
a car could do.
I suppose if the last quick thing you'd had was a Caterham way back in what year?
2000.
That's a long time ago, that now.
Yeah.
I know to me and you, but in our age, it seemed like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I still think as, the 90s is 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Cars have come a long, long, long way.
Yeah, they have. I'd never been in anything like that. I've been in some quick cars before, but nothing like that.
Yeah.
Accelerated and braked and handled.
Well, it was complete
like
package. It's not just the acceleration, is it?
Yeah.
You've been on quick motorbikes. You know how things accelerate.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, the car's motorbike acceleration, but the handling, it'll outperform a motorbike.
Yeah.
And, and it's got all that in spades.
Yeah.
And you can put your luggage in it and sit there with the air conditioning and all the heater on, listening to, whatever you want to listen to on the radio and in complete comfort.
It was a lovely car, but as I say, it put me off the kind of 2-seater experience.
Yeah.
And then a few weeks later, I bought the Audi, and you came with me to buy the Audi. Yeah. And I think there was 5 brake horsepower between the Porsche and the Audi.
Yeah.
Completely different cars. I'm not pretending that the Audi was in any way, but the fact that I can put a roof rack on it and stick a boat on the roof or a mountain bike in the back
ticks all your boxes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what you want,
the petrol engine is different things to different people, isn't it? And that's one of the great things about coming down here.
Yeah. When you built your Caterham, you had to get that MSVA tested?
I did, yeah. Single vehicle approval over at Beverley.
So for those that you don't know, it's like a very strict MOT. If you build a kit car or anything or a bike, you have to go get a very stringent test on it by the Department of Transport. I went with you to get your Harris done.
Yeah, for the MSVA.
Yeah.
2013.
Which I'm sure you'll delight in telling our listeners. The reason you took me was to sit on the bike.
Well, that and you had a van at the time as well.
Thanks.
The single vehicle approval, they're quite stringent in what you need to do. I mean, it was a couple of different things. You can get the testers on board if you kind of play the game. So when we took the Caterham, the tester was getting cranky about the doors, because Caterhams they call them side screens, not doors, and obviously they just clip into place. And he wasn't happy with that. He wanted them to lock. Anyway, several phone calls later, we managed to establish that we were okay with the side screens, and we'd taken a car full of bits and pieces to kind of, try and
fettle and
to fettle and tweak stuff. So when it came to the emissions test, he said, "You've put down on the form that the engine's 1975." And I went, "Yeah." He said, "How sure are you of that?" I said, "Well, I'm pretty sure." He said, "Why does it matter?" He said, "Yeah, well, if it's 1974, it's not subject to emissions. If it's 1975, it is. Might be a 74. He said, "Well, tell you what," he said, "let's put it on the tester and see whether we need to be bothered about it." It passed.
Yeah.
So, but that was nice of him to put that seed. So that was good. So with the MSVA for the motorbike, obviously you've got to make sure that the lights are CE marked and at a certain height and a certain distance apart.
The indicators have to be a certain distance.
That's right.
Yeah, there's loads of criteria.
But one of the tests, they run a large traffic cone on wheels down the side of the bike. And
it's more cylindrical, isn't it, than a traffic? It's more cylindrical than cone shaped.
Yeah, and the idea is to see if it snags at any point on the bike, then it's a fail.
The idea is it's a pedestrian if in a case of an accident.
That's right. But a rider can sit on the bike. So what you do is you take your biggest
rider you can find,
and he can stick his elbows out if needed, and the cone or cylinder can pass down the side of the bike and breeze past. So thanks, Jim.
He still owe me for that one.
Yeah.
And that's still on the road, that bike?
No, that's the one I've just sold. That's the one I've just sold. Yeah.
So big decision that was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, but I kind of always knew at the time I was building it that one eventually would be sold, and it came around this year, and I let it be known that I would sell it as a frame kit.
Yeah.
If anyone was interested, and a few days later I got a message from someone that I know, local from Pickering, and he said, "Yeah, I'm interested." So he came over and we talked and we did the deal, and Clive is building it as we speak.
It's gone to someone who's very keen and interested in the mark.
He's on with it now.
And local as well, so you will see it at some point in the not too distant future, I'm guessing, down at say where's our Squires or the Motorist or wherever.
Exactly that. Yeah, I kept a load of the bits off it, the forks and the wheels and the brakes and stuff, and they'll go on to another project build.
Brembo, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They look nice, don't they?
They do.
Bit of a Brembo.
What
can I say? I do agree with you. They are very nice looking.
Yeah, they're lovely.
So, what trips have you got planned? What's the next adventure? What have we got in the pipeline? What's on the want list?
Well, we've got the ferry booked for Le Mans bike race in April. So this will be about my 20th time to the 24-hour bike race at Le Mans. So going on a Royal Enfield, which about 4 years ago I bought a winter hack bike. I spent £600 on a little Suzuki 500. The intention was to ride it round in the winter, and still get out on a motorbike when the weather was like 10 degrees or so.
And how many miles did you do on it?
Did 10,000 miles on it and took it abroad 5 times. 3 Le Mans trips, it went to Spa, it did the west coast of Ireland for £600, plus obviously tyres and serviceables and that.
Sprockets,
and the point of that is, you don't need what's termed an adventure bike, like the Ewan and Charlie. The best bike to ride is the bike that you ride in. Yeah. We had some good adventures on that. But it was getting a bit tired, and I'd had a go on a mate's Royal Enfield Interceptor at the back end of 24.
Yep.
And Enfield have brought out some new models, so they were doing deals on the older models. And I went down to Eddie's in Tadcaster and had a chat with the salesman, and 3 weeks later picked up the only brand new bike I've ever had. Yeah. But a brand new Royal Enfield, and it's a lovely bit of kit. Yeah. Goes well, handles well, does 70 odd to the gallon. Yeah, it's a great bit of kit. So they're now built in India, of course.
Yeah.
Because Enfield, like many other British marques, have been bought up by...
Could you briefly explain the connection between Enfield and Harris?
Well, Enfield ended up buying Harris back in about 2014, something like that. Enfield wanted to conquer the world. That they wanted to build a motorbike for the European market. So they employed a design company up in the northeast to design a bike that would appeal to our Western kind of values. That design company got in touch with Harris to undertake the engineering
and the
R&D side of it, and they collaborated, and from that came the Interceptor and the Continental that share the same frame. So the frame is a Harris design frame, although the materials used are substantially different. But yeah, Harris had a lot to do with the setting up of the factory over in India.
It is a very, very good bike.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah. Especially for the money, you can't really go wrong.
It's heavy. That would be my only criticism, because obviously it's built out of Angerline. It's built to a budget, but it does, like you say.
But the beauty about having one of those bikes on a trip is you can repair it anywhere, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you've got an aluminium frame bike in the middle of India and you take it to your local shack on the corner, they're going to struggle welding an aluminium frame up.
Well, that's it. And we had a breakdown in India. Daz actually had his own Royal Enfield 350 in India, and we were up in the mountains heading towards a place called Cargill, which is probably 10,000 feet, and he had complete electrical failure on the bike. So we're pulled up at the side of the road and started having a look, took the side panel off, and there's the battery just floating around. It's not secured in at all. The live wire to the battery is completely exposed, and it had been shorting out, or had shorted out, as it was sliding around the battery tray. So managed to fix all the electrics, got the horn working, got the lights working, yada yada, but no ignition. So after about 20 minutes, I said, "Sorry, Daz, I've run out of talent. I don't know, go get a truck." Because you don't need the RAC or whoever over there.
Who are you going to get?
So 10 minutes later, Daz comes back with a truck. About 8 of us lift the bike into the back of the truck. We head to Cargill. We put the bike into the dealership at about 8 p.m. because, of course, I say dealership, it's a yard in a back street. About 8 p.m, so we need it for 8 a.m. They knew exactly what was wrong with it, because the main fuse for the ignition is in the headlight. Well, of course, it's not in the fuse box. Why would it? We collected the bike next morning at 7:30, and we were on the road again at 8 o'clock, and happy days.
Yeah, but these are things that make adventures, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's not about. It's the stories and the things going wrong. I mean, a good friend of ours who sadly passed away at the beginning of this year, Pete Brown. He was Mr. Adventure. He lived for an adventure. And I think I'm right in saying he taught us that it's not the destination, it is the journey.
Very much so.
He planned a trip. I believe it was his Ryther near York to John O'Groats, down to Land's End, back to Ryther again. And he planned that meticulously. He's probably spent a year planning it.
Yeah.
And he said it was probably, in one respect, the most boring trip he'd ever done, because he knew exactly where he was going to be when.
Yeah.
And it was planned to the nth degree. And I think on day 2, he got a puncture. And he went, "Oh, brilliant.
Something to fix.
Something's gone wrong. It's an adventure now."
Yeah.
And it's that mindset. It doesn't matter where you end up, where you go. It's about who you're with and the stories on the way.
Absolutely.
And that's, I mean, another, I know you're very close to him, Bob. He's in his 80s now.
80s.
And he's still adventure biking.
Yep.
And I mean, do you want to just briefly tell the listeners about his trip to Mongolia? That was an epic trip, was that?
Yeah, it was. So Bob, in his sort of mid to late 60s, he'd met up with some guys from a previous trip, and they were at a funeral of one of their number, and they're chatting away as they do over beers and glasses of whiskey, and the next morning they've got a vague recollection that they'd agreed to go on a trip. So a couple of years in the planning, 5 of them rode their bikes to Mongolia across Russia, 4 of the lads still had jobs, so they crated their bikes up and flew the bikes back home, and Bob rode his bike back home by himself, so 2 trips for the price of 1. And I asked him which was the best trip, and after sucking air through teeth, he probably said the solo ride. Because what you'll find when you solo adventuring is people will talk to you.
Yeah.
You know, if you're there with a few of you, half a dozen of you, the locals won't come and speak to you because it's a group of people and they won't come and. But you know, a solo adventurer.
It's the same, no, down your local pub. If you're going on your own, you're a lot more approachable on your own than the group. Yeah, I mean, you see that time and time again on trips. If you're a group, people stay away. If you're on your own, people, oh, what are you up to? Where are you going? What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, if you've got some stickers on your bike or on your car, they're interested. They want to, you know. I mean, one of the best trips I ever had, myself and Pete Brown met you and some other guys over in Northern Ireland, went across the Northwest 200, but me and Pete went on a Honda 90s.
Yeah.
And the amount of people who were interested, oh, why are you coming on those? What are you doing? And it was just brilliant. So much attention, and people want to engage. And I used to have one of those, and it was all the reminiscing that people absolutely loved.
And how much later did you arrive at the accommodation? It's about 80 miles from the ferry at Larne up to where we were staying.
20 minutes later, if that.
If that.
Yeah.
And we're on
sorry, I think we stopped at the shop on the way as well.
Yeah, we're on 750s and 1100s and stuff, and these two on the 90s are 10 or 15 minutes behind us.
A whale of a time. It was absolutely brilliant. Looking for your new favourite t-shirt or hoodie? Head to the DriveLife store and discover our range of automotive-inspired clothing. Use the link in the show notes below and use code podcast10 at checkout for 10% off. So just going back to that trip with Pete Brown, as I just explained, Mr. Adventure, he did a lot of trips on his 90.
He did.
Very well known in our area for that. And we have now, kindly from his wife, basically taken delivery of his 90.
Yeah.
And we have made a group between us all.
Yep.
You've sort of been steering, thank you very much, to basically make it relive some more adventures.
Yeah, because Pete isn't able to do the adventures, but the bike is, so that's what we're going to do. So the current plans always change, but we're going to do Land's End John O'Groats. Mm-hmm. We'll do it for charity.
Yep.
And we'll raise some money for Macmillan or something similar. And the bike will live on.
And we're going to do that trip. We're sort of planning on doing it in shifts. I'll do an hour and a half, 2 hour stint, and then swap over and basically just do it non-stop.
Yeah.
That's the plan. But we have, when we start chatting over a pint, we've got lots more adventures planned. And
do you remember the night he fell into a river on that Land's End John O'Groats trip? So, the fact that Pete had planned the trip to the nth degree, but I don't think he planned on throwing it in a river.
So I believe the story goes, he found this beautiful riverbank. It wasn't a very deep river, it was more like your Scottish picture postcard river, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he parked the bike on the bank, put his helmet on the seat, got his iPad out the back box, turned around to walk away, and when he turned around to take a photograph with his iPad, the bike had gone. And he ran back, and basically the bike had tipped over and slid down the riverbank into the river. So he had a very quick decision to make. The bike was there and wasn't moving, but his helmet was bobbing away down the river. And he had to swim and get his helmet because he realised if he didn't have that, he couldn't ride his bike anywhere.
Yeah.
So he managed to get his helmet, get out the river, and then come up with some plan to get. But yeah, and then the next photograph we got sent was him in some Airbnb or some bed and breakfast with everything hung up to dry.
Drying out his sleeping bag, all his kit.
But yeah,
brilliant.
But it's just, again, what an adventure.
Only Pete.
Yeah, 100%. You also write a blog about lots of your trips, lots of different things, don't you?
I do, yeah.
And I'd have to say, some of the stories on there are absolutely hilarious. So we can share a link to that if you're all right with that.
Yeah, the blog's It's Only a Hill.
So we'll put that on the video so you can click on that and get a link to that. But there is some very funny stories on there about Pete, about a lot of your adventures, about a lot of your bike trips.
It's more of a diary, really, to kind of remind me of what happened on which trip and who was there, kind of thing.
Yeah, how many mental mates you've got.
Well,
because some of the videos I've seen on there, rather you than me, some of those waterfalls you drop into.
Yeah.
And, what's next on the bike list or car list? I know you're content with your Audi, but have you got any sort of, anything drawing you towards anything you want to get? No, quite
not really.
Where you
Happy
are.
as I've got a van as well. That I do most of my miles in the van these days.
Yeah.
Because it's actually more comfortable to drive than the Audi is.
Sorry, I'm getting old, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it takes the hit of the mileage and takes the miles off the Audi, which is nice.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've got a Z1000 build on the go at the moment. I've got the Enfield booked on the ferry for Le Mans, as I say, and then we'll just see what else the year brings.
Okay.
Got a trip to Italy kayaking in May.
Yeah.
Planned, and then the rest of the year we'll see what happens.
So just going back to the cars again, 'cause
Yep.
I'm going to keep prodding you with it.
Yeah, it's fine.
What's your ultimate 3-car garage on your lottery?
Well, I did think about this.
Good.
One of the cars I'm going to stick with the Audi
Yep.
because it does
Does
everything
what it
that I
says on
want
the
it to
tin.
do.
Yeah, that's your daily.
We're going to go straight down to MST in Wales, and we're going to order a Mark II Escort. And I'm going to take Charlie Gabb with me because Charlie knows everything about
one. Yeah.
Escorts. He's had lots and built lots.
Yeah, and can drive lots.
And can drive
very,
lots.
Very well.
And then I'm going to go for a Tuthill Porsche.
Oh, nice.
So if you haven't seen the YouTube video of Chris Harris driving the gold 911 with, is it Richard Tuthill? I think it is Richard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Watch that video because it's air-cooled, normally aspirated, 3 litre.
Yeah.
Weighs 800 and something kgs with 300 brake horsepower, carbon fibre everywhere. So I'm going to have one of those.
Okay, that's going to be a big lottery win, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So they'd be the 3 after you said that.
Yeah.
You've got to take 3 cars.
Yeah.
They'd be the 3.
That's a good mix.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, one that I can just go to and turn the key.
Yeah.
And then the other 2 are probably a bit more high maintenance. But
Yeah. Well, let me know when you win. I'll come down and help you pick it up.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Drive you back.
Absolutely.
Can't wait to try one of those.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great chatting.
That's
Thank you very much for coming in.
No, thank you.
Hope you've enjoyed that, guys. And massive thanks
Thanks
again.
very much. Nice one, Jim. Cheers, buddy.